Hello and welcome to another episode of the Slack Doctors. I am Dr. Chip.
I am Dr. Bob.
And no guest today, so we'll be winging it on current events and whatever pops into our heads. Do you have any news nuggets to start out with?
I don't have any news nuggets, but I had a bizarre interaction today, which I've been waiting to tell you about. I wanted to wait for the pod to tell you.
Okay.
So I don't know if I ever told you this, but maybe 2 years ago, I'm outside smoking a cigarette, and this kid, probably 15, I guess maybe, this black kid that lives in the same complex, walks up to me and says, he's all out of breath. And he's like, "Did you notice if the bus came?" I'm like, "The bus pickup is right. I can see it from where I stand and smoke behind my car." And I happened to have been paying attention that day. So I told him, "Yeah, man, the bus already took off." And he looks all upset about it. And then he shocked the hell out of me. I've never met this kid before, right? He introduces himself. He goes, "My name's Chris." He goes, "Is there any chance I could pay you to give me a ride to school?" And I thought, I would have never, at the age of 15, approached a grown man of a different race that I'd never met in an apartment complex and asked him to give me a ride to school. And I was so impressed by the boldness and the audacity of his request that I said, "You know what? All right." So I kind of developed this friendship with this kid, right? I gave him maybe 5 or 6 rides to school. Every now and again, he'd miss the bus. He'd knock on my door and ask me. And then he told me one day he was going to a different school and that he probably wouldn't see me, but every now and again or whatever. I'm like, "Yeah, that's cool, man. Good luck with your future and all, you know."
Right.
And then I didn't hear from him for a year and a half. I don't know. So today, I'm on the phone with Brooke, my niece, and I get a knock on my door. Dude, nobody ever knocks on my door.
Right.
I only know one person in this town, and it's my sister, and she's at work. So I'm like, "Hey, I got to go. Somebody's knocking on my door. This might not be good. Management, I don't know." So I open the door, and of course, it's him. And I'm like, "Hey, man, where you been?" And he goes, "I just got out of jail." I was like, "For what?" And he goes, "I got caught with a gun." I'm like, "How fucking old are you?" He goes, 17. I'm like, "Obviously it wasn't yours. You're not old enough to buy one, you know," but that was the reason why I hadn't heard from him in so long. And so it's funny that this kid that I thought at first was just like, you know, apparently he's more of a degenerate than I thought he was. You know, I was like, "Oh, he just wants a ride to school. That's so wholesome." Now, I don't know how many people he went to visit or whether he just got out today or not, but like, I just got out of jail. I want to go say hi to my old white friend that I haven't seen in forever. It was just a bizarre, surreal moment, a surreal experience.
Well, first of all, just if you're from the inner city and you have a gun, that doesn't make you a bad person. It's kind of almost a bit of a requirement, to tell you the truth.
No, I understand that, and I didn't ask for details as to what, you know.
Is it illegal?
How did you get searched? You know what I mean? Like, or did you brandish the gun or whatever?
Yeah,
I didn't have time because he was only here for a minute.
You know, easily been driving while black. Yeah, that's how he could have got searched. That happens all the time. But I mean,
yeah, no, I mean, I never got a bad vibe from this kid.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
He always, and I've known some pretty degenerate people in my life, but I didn't pick up on any of that.
But is it illegal for a minor to own a gun?
Yes. You have to be 18. The only way you can be in, you know, even temporary possession of a gun under the age of 18 is if you're with your guardian or parent and it's theirs. I mean, there are some loopholes in some states involving hunting guns, hunting rifles, and maybe shotguns. But handguns, a handgun is, if you're not 18, you're not allowed to have a handgun. Plain and simple.
I never knew. I had a over-ender 22 410 shotgun, you know, rifle when I was a kid. I was only like 13. I used to walk around.
Like I just said, some states do have exceptions for long guns because they're for hunting. I had a 22 long rifle when I was 16 or 15.
Right.
But you can't go buy a handgun unless you're 18.
Well, again,
which is indeed what he was caught with, you know.
Second Amendment shall not be abridged. But anyway, whatever.
Yeah, fair enough.
Interesting. So he didn't tell you what he went to. Oh, he went to jail for the gun.
For possession, yeah. And he was only here for like 5 minutes, right? Because I guess somebody else was giving him a ride. But what I should have asked him and didn't think to was, if you're 17 now and you just got out, why did you go to jail? Why didn't you go to juvie or something? Like you weren't, you know what I mean? Just for possession. Like you got charged as an adult just because you got caught with a gun on you.
He could have been in juvie. Juvie is very, you know, there's a level of juvie that's basically the same as jail. It's not that big a difference.
Fair enough. And he may have phrased it that way, jail, just because it sounds. You get more clout, I'm sure. It's a little more
more cred, more
street cred
sympathy,
for having gone to jail as opposed to juvie. You know, I don't know.
Well, that'll tailboard into one of my first stories of the episode, which is, I mean, it was like day before yesterday. I'm driving down 95, going northbound on 95, getting ready to get off Southern. You know, there's 2 lanes to get off. I'm in the left lane to get off, and as I'm just about to get off, some SUV comes swerving across 3 lanes of traffic, cuts right in front of me to get off. I'm like, all right, whatever. So then as we get up to the light turns red. As we get up to the light, I get way over on the right lane, and so I can pull up and see who's driving this badly. And sure enough, I pull up, and it's some middle-aged chick on her phone, not paying attention to anything. And just as I looking at her, there's a homeless guy walking between her car and the car next to mine on her passenger side. And I yell at him, I go, hey, get that chick for me, get that lady. And I guess he knocks on her window, and she like, what? She freaks out because he knocks on her window, and then she, you know, he points at me, and I'm over there going, get off the phone. You know, what are you doing? And I start screaming at her, and then she starts freaking out about that. And the guy starts to walk off because he doesn't know what the hell's going on. And then when he starts leaving, I'm like, hey, wait, come here. And then he comes over, and I give him like a couple of bucks. So I think there's actually a viable, good use for some of these people standing on the corner. I say we arm them with rotten fruit, and and pay them.
Have you ever seen the video? I think it's somewhere in Asia, and I've only ever seen it in like one of the little short reels, and it usually has some caption along the lines of how to get respect from other drivers or something like that, and it's basically crosswalks with a pile of bricks right next to the crosswalk. So as a pedestrian walks up, they pick up a brick, and you hold the brick while you're crossing the street. And people do seem to have a little more respect for you when you got a brick in your hand.
Yeah, that's for sure. But that lady was horrified for at least a few minutes. But then, of course, when the light turns green, she looks over. She's like, yeah, I'm the bad guy now, you stupid.
Yeah.
About to kill people driving around not paying attention on your phone, but I'm the bad guy. Screw me. Right. Yeah, right. Stupid idiots.
Now, you almost solved the problem yourself by having the type of phone that you have. I can't see you attempting to use your phone while you're driving.
No. Well,
yeah.
I'll answer
not
it.
Not to mention your phone doesn't really offer any kind of entertainment or anything. It's not like you're looking at memes.
No. I'll answer it if somebody's calling. I mean, I'm not going to try to text on it for sure. I mean, that's what's so funny about people. Like, I'll deal with people on Facebook. Like, I just went and bought a little speaker from this guy. Luckily, he was clearly my generation and got it, because he texted me his address on Facebook, and I was like, can you send this, because I had already given him my phone number, and I said, can you send this to my phone so I can bring it with me? So I think he got the message like, oh, this guy's got that kind of phone. But yeah, it's some of these people, like I was trying to look at speaking of which, disregard all those realist of Zillow. I tried to send you Zillow twice, but I screwed up somehow the first time. But disregard those.
Because the first time you sent me a link to ourselves.
I know. I looked at it.
I was like, that's all right. I'm cool with that. But then,
I looked at it later. I was like, that's not the link I was supposed to send. I know. I'm an idiot. But the point being that, much like the problem with some of these, I saw a place that would be great if we could rent it. It was represented by some kind of investment group, had a phone number. So I call the number. Some lovely young lady answers the phone, starts grilling me about this and that and the other thing, yada, yada, yada. And I had to stop her mid-spiel and go, listen, stop. If I rent this place from whoever and the toilet clogs up and starts to overflow, who do I call? And she goes, oh, well, there'll be a portal available where you can make an appointment for a maintenance. And I'm like, click. I'm like, literally, unless we can find somebody with a single-family house that we can talk to, which almost happened in Lake Worth. I almost got us that place in Lake Worth. That guy was so close. I don't know why he rented it to that chick, but whatever. I guess I should have gave him the money he was asking. That's what it was. I was trying to Jew him down. But if we could find somebody like that where we can talk to the landlord and deal with the landlord, that's the only way we're renting a place. Otherwise, we're just going to have to wait to buy next year.
The level of bullshit regarding portals and all of that nonsense,
Oh
like
yeah, it's
in the
ridiculous.
complex that I live in, right? It's pretty big. There's a lot of apartments here, and the further back you go, the more shady it gets, you know.
Right.
So I'm literally one building past the office. I could throw a rock and hit the back of the office from my front door.
Right.
And yet, when it was time for me to sign my lease, do they let me come into the office and sign it? No. I have to docu-sign it through a portal on my computer. It's like, why can't I just walk for 35 seconds and you hand me a piece of paper and I sign it and then you make a copy of it and we're done?
Yep.
Those days are over.
Yeah, well, they may be making a comeback, and that's actually one of the things I wanted to talk about. Did you watch your boys' Bill Mayer podcast that I sent you?
Some of it.
Well, at some point in that podcast, both of those guys lament the very exact same thing we're talking about. So at some point, somebody's going to realize there's a huge generation of like, well, I mean, I'm the last of the boomers. I don't think you're a boomer. What are you? You're like Gen X, right?
Gen X. Yeah,
so
Gen X. According to the charts, I suppose.
There's a huge demographic of boomers and Gen Xers that don't want to deal with that stuff. And somebody's going to have to, if they figure out how to be the go-between, you know, like, all right, call me up and I'll take care of all of it.
And it's permeated every aspect of society.
I know.
When we went to that barbecue place, you got a QR code at the table that you have to sign. Like with your phone, you had no choice but to go up to the bar and thank God that option was even available. That tropical smokehouse place that we went.
I've been there since by myself and had no problem. So they can exist without that.
They can do it, but they want you to use the automated thing, you know, and they're pushing towards that heavily.
And that reminds me of my story with Dad and the Grubhub up in Boston. You know, like, oh yeah, Grubhub, it'll be easy. 4.5, 5 hours later, it's like, yeah, is that going to be showing up anytime soon? It's like, what's going on here? Is this how this is supposed to work? I thought it was easy. Couldn't we have just driven somewhere 3 or 4 times by now and been back and
it's not always just to frustrate us. Sometimes it even bites themselves in the ass. For example, the microphone that I ordered, Amazon's not getting any money out of that. Why? Because I tried to buy it from Amazon. I get this weird message telling me that it can't ship to the address that I've chosen. So just for shits and giggles, I went through I have 15 different addresses in my Amazon account. Because every time I send a gift to somebody, I don't delete the address. You know what I mean? So it's my stepmother, Heather, my sister, Scott, like anybody. I tried every single address, and every single time it said, can't deliver to this address. So in frustration, I went directly to the manufacturer's website. It's a company called Rode, and they're based out of Australia. I'm sure I didn't buy this thing from Australia. Sold it to me in 30 seconds, got a message within 3 hours saying it had shipped, and it'll be here by Monday.
The mic company is Rode?
Amazon lost on that.
The mic company is Rode?
The microphone company, yeah.
Yeah, guess what? Same people own Amazon, own that company. They made your money. It's the same people. BlackRock owns them all.
I don't think so. Not in this case.
They probably do.
Oftentimes, yes, but I don't think so.
They do.
But anyway, it doesn't matter. My point is.
Yeah, I get it.
I had to go. I couldn't buy, even though Amazon it was listed as in stock.
But that's the thing. I mean, there's so many. They're so intertwined. It doesn't really matter who you get it from. They still get a cut or get paid or all furthers their agenda of stock portfolio, whatever the hell it is. It's just so incestuously intertwined now. They just get your money no matter what you do.
The amount it really boils down to third-party vendors or middlemen. And the more you can avoid those in your life and in your transactions, the easier things will be for you.
Well,
if you need a hotel, don't use Expedia.
Right.
Call the fucking hotel.
Right. That's true.
Same with airline. Same with rental cars.
But my point being, at the end of the day, BlackRock owns Expedia and the hotels. They still make their money.
Fair enough. But if you have a problem and you did it directly through the hotel, you can at least speak to a human being. If you have a problem with PayPal, Expedia, Travelocity, shit like that, you're never going to get to talk to a person, and you'll never get your money back.
I agree.
I got screwed on a hotel in New Jersey 4 or 5 years ago. I bought through Expedia. I did everything possible for months to try to get my money back, and eventually I gave up.
Yeah, that's the
Nothing I can
business
do.
model. That's it. That's how it works. That's amazing. Which is funny. I just yesterday applied for my Social Security, and of course they want you to do it online. And luckily they're because obviously it's for old people, so they have to have a phone number. So they had a phone number, and I called up, and she goes, "Oh, well, we encourage you to do it." I'm like, "Look, I don't do any of my banking online, so I cannot provide you with any banking information other than bring you a checkbook or a statement or read you numbers. There's nothing online, so I don't think I can apply online." And they're like, "Yeah, okay, good point." And I actually got an appointment next week that I go sit down with somebody, and then after that, sure enough, I'm getting like $850 a month. I can't believe I'm getting that much. Anyway, the other thing I was going to talk about was past guest, one of our most, I don't know if I want to say popular, but most interesting guests, Crazy Dave, has got what I can only really call as, I guess, would be a Facebook show. I guess you would call it. He just basically records himself on what he calls these episodes and then puts them on Facebook, and he calls it Dave and the Lunatics or something like that. And
like a vlog?
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, on Facebook. Steve was on a couple of them. They were playing basketball. He's got other people doing stuff, and I think he's just trying to, be entertaining and be crazy on Facebook. But the thing that I noticed today that I thought was really interesting is underneath one of his posts, there was a guy named Crazy Dave replying to a comment from Dave Blaine Carey, which is his real name. So he is literally having conversations with himself on his own posts in two different Facebook characters.
It's possible. It's possible that that's true, in which case that only goes to support his name.
It's definitely
making him
true.
Crazy Dave. Or the other possibility is that there's a rival Crazy Dave that somehow wants to instigate with him, and maybe they can have some sort of battle to see who's more insane.
I'll have to look into that. That could be a possibility, but I'm pretty sure they're both him. But you may be right. I really didn't give that. There could be somebody out there clever enough to do that. You could be right. Now that you mention, I wish I'd have been the one, but.
And here's a third possibility. It is him, but he doesn't even know it's him. And he really is that crazy.
Now, see, that's what I'm thinking, more Fight Club-y type. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
He doesn't really know which role he's playing at any given moment. And depending on how up to date on his meds he is, I guess I find it quite entertaining myself. Even though, it's nonsensical sometimes, and you're just like, what the hell's going on? But a lot of the times...
don't true schizophrenics, aren't the personalities kind of hidden from each other?
I believe according to Split, they are.
Well, yeah, exactly. That was Patricia.
I've yet to see the final...
the range was that James McAvoy, right? God, the range in that movie, though, that's pretty impressive, I must say.
I've yet to see the final one where he fights Bruce Willis. I've never seen that one. Have you?
Glass?
What's that?
Wasn't Glass the last one?
Yes, I've never seen it.
Yeah.
I want to see
that.
I don't know how I've evaded seeing that movie. I want to see it. I've never seen it. That was a great. That's one of M. Night Shyamalan's best movies. Yeah, that's one of his best movies. That and Sixth Sense. Yeah, all of that guy's best movies have Bruce Willis in them.
Yeah. So one of my favorite TV shows is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and in the show, the gang is trying to make a movie, and they're all like fans of M. Night Shyamalan because he's from Philly, right?
Right.
So they want to always put a twist in anything that they try to do. And Charlie's character is so stupid that he actually admits that when he saw The Sixth Sense, he thinks the twist is that the character was played by Bruce Willis, not that he was dead, but that he just didn't realize that was the actor, Bruce Willis. Kind of like how the twist in Tropic Thunder is that Les Grossman is actually Tom Cruise.
Or that Robert Downey Jr. is actually, what was that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, great. Yeah. God,
not only did Tom Cruise nail that role and shock the world by taking it, but he even improved it because first of all, it was his idea to make the arms and hands extra fat and hairy.
Oh yeah, the whole
And
thing.
it was his idea to dance.
Yeah. And I got to be the first to admit, I didn't realize at first who it was. It took
No,
me a
me
while,
neither.
and I was like, "Holy shit, that's Tom Cruise!" I'm the first to admit it. I was befuddled for quite a while.
Yeah,
What a
probably
great
his
movie.
best role.
Yeah. But the only thing he misses in that role is he didn't get to run. Tom Cruise is the best run in Hollywood. He's got the best.
And that character looks like if he even sprinted through the room, he'd die.
Yeah,
but
right?
although he did dance rather kind of energetically almost.
True. Yeah, the dance was good.
Yeah. That was the actor Sam Rockwell?
Yes.
That guy, he always manages to work in a little dance and the ad-lib some dancing into all of his roles. When he was the bad guy in Iron Man, he kind of dances out onto the scene. He's like the big weapons developer guy. Yeah. That was improv.
I know he got to dance around in that one where he was a Nazi. That was a funny movie. What was that?
Something? Oh, the Jojo Rabbit?
Yes, Jojo Rabbit. That was kind of funny.
Yeah. That was a really fucked up movie. I mean,
yes, it was.
That was just a still shot of the little boy next to his mother's red shoes when he. That one is a gut wrencher of a film, and funny.
Who did that film? He did a bunch of those other ones. He did that other one with
Taika White. I can't pronounce his name. Taika Waititi or something like that.
Right, but he did.
He also did What We Do in the Shadows, which got turned into a TV show, which was a great show about vampires living in like Long Island.
And didn't he do like a Bill Murray and Bruce Willis was in it? The one with the two kids that run away and like he's a Boy Scout and she's
Oh no. That's
that's not the same guy?
That's Wes Anderson.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
that is a different guy.
I can't remember the name of that movie, but I've seen it.
I thought it was the same guy. It seemed like the same kind of style,
I mean, they're both quirky, but they're different. The guy that did the movie you're just talking about on the island with Bill Murray, that's the guy who did The Life Aquatic with Suzu.
Yes. Yep.
And
same guy.
The one about the train, I can't remember the name of it. And they're all very distinct. They seem to have certain quirkiness and almost even a certain color palette. And it really reminds me a lot of how Tim Burton's movies all have that same visual style.
Correct. Hey, maybe we should turn this podcast into just a movie review thing.
Right? We could. we could certainly review them. Why not? Nothing else to do. Well, I was thinking about even doing some book reviews on some of the stuff behind me on the shelf.
True. Next thing I got was political, and it was about that Mamdani guy in New York. You have any feelings or thoughts on that?
Well, I'm glad I don't live in New York, but that's a sentiment that I've pretty much always held to. I do think he's going to win. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I have seen a lot of videos and a lot of news blurbs about basically any of the suburbs surrounding New York are all getting bought out now for sure if there was anything available anyway, because people with money are leaving the city to avoid the upcoming tax increase.
Well, does that mean we might be able to get a place in New York real cheap then, right?
You might.
Well, the way I feel about it, and you know me, I'm a libertarian turned anarchist, so I'm like states' rights, man. Let them do what they want. They can vote in whatever they want. If they want to try socialism for a while, let them. They get what they vote for. Let them give it dip a toe in the socialism. See how it goes. Maybe it'll work out for them. Hey, it works pretty good for Denmark and some of those places. Who knows? I mean, New York is practically almost socialist anyway, right?
Yeah, but doesn't that sentiment aren't you a constitutionalist? Don't you believe in the Constitution?
Yeah.
Isn't there something in the Constitution that prohibits socialism? Something about personal property?
No, not in the federal government. Yes, but your state, you can do whatever the hell you want in your state. The Constitution doesn't say you can't have a socialist state. Knock yourself out.
I thought the whole point of having a federal government was that it was to override anything a state tried to do that went against the nation's laws.
There's no law against a state being socialist. What law is that? They can do whatever they want. They could be Nazis if they want. If you're a true constitutionalist,
All right. So does that
states'
mean you believe
rights.
that they'd be allowed to have a state institute Sharia law?
If that's what they want, sure. Now, then again, if they start executing the people in the street without due process, that's where the federal government has to come in and go, yeah, that's too much. The federal government is there to protect
So then they could
our
have
rights.
Sharia law, but they couldn't enforce it.
They could enforce the constitutional part of it. They could. The unconstitutional part they couldn't.
They don't mesh. You can't have both of those things in an area.
Well, we kind of do already, unfortunately. But I mean, yeah, I mean they're going to cause problems like they are now. But you could try it. I mean, you know, as we are now, as we see, it's not really working. But there's nothing. See, that's the thing. If everybody just said every state's, you know, responsible for your own shit, things would be a lot different, you know. But I, as far as I'm concerned, I don't care what they do in New York. I live in Florida. What the hell's that got to do with me? I don't give a shit. But why do I care? Let them try socialism. Go nuts. Give it a shot. See how it goes.
And in your personal opinion, what do you think the results will be?
No idea. Absolutely no idea. Who knows? It might work. It might help people. It might suck. It might turn the whole state into a shit show. Who the hell knows? Let them try it. It's better them than us. You know, let's stand back and say, hey, you know, they pulled the pin. Let's see what happens. You know, I don't care. I don't live there.
Right. But you have no sympathy or empathy for anybody who lives there that doesn't like it, that doesn't want it, voted against it, doesn't have the money to leave, and now has to live through it.
It's called democracy. You're stuck with what these sheeple vote for you. Or we could just go with the anarchy thing, which, you know, not everybody's on board with that yet, although Michael Malice is still around and is still as popular as ever. You know, and I got to watch way more of him because he makes such a really rational, eloquent, lawful argument of why and how anarchy would work. I can't make. I'm still stuck on libertarian stuff.
How can there not be you just used the phrase lawful to describe a description of anarchy, which technically means no laws.
No, doesn't mean no laws. It means no government. You can still have laws. You can still have courts as as per your contract with said security or court systems. See, that's the thing. I can't argue it as well as he can. Everything without government is about personal contracts between people doing business. Like I said, I'm not the guy. I can't. Michael Malice is the guy. I've sent you some of his stuff, but obviously you've not gone quite down the rabbit hole. Oh, and as a perfect example of how great government works, did you see that the ATF stopped that munitions plant from exploding in Tennessee? Oh, wait. No, they didn't. You saw that, right?
No.
Yeah, some munition plant in Tennessee blew up. About 20 people died, unfortunately. Thank you, ATF. Thank God they're around, right? What would we do without the ATF?
I have seen some pretty good anti-ATF T-shirts, the best of which I've ever seen says, I'm guessing you're not here about the alcohol and tobacco.
Or the exploding munitions factories we're supposed to be regulating. You know, come on, man. It's just like, you know, the whole thing, like the EPA, you know, anybody that argues, oh, the EPA, we can't live without the EPA. Ask people in Flint, Michigan, how great the EPA is. They still can't drink their fucking water. It's like all these three-letter agencies have been are either just bureaucratically swamped, captured by special interests, bribed into looking the other way while big corporations pollute or do whatever that's what JFK did before he got into the health thing. He was suing the shit out of all these people that just and everybody thinks JFK is great, and I think he's got the right intentions, but he's not going to do shit. He's not going to you need somebody to go in there and just
JFK, but I think you mean RFK.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, RFK. Yeah, RFK Jr. Jr. Not even senior, junior. But yeah, it's just the whole thing is just such a joke. It's just like, it's funny. My dad's significant other. I saw the mail she got while she was out of town, and there had to be, in 4 days, I'd say she had 50 to 70 pieces of mail from some kind of charity, either for pets or animals or sick kids or this or that, and this foundation and the heritage this and the Audubon and that. And I'm like, I mean, I wonder if she gives money to all these people. I mean, and that's kind of what she does. I think that's kind of her deal. She's always worked like within some kind of for the government as an advocate for something. That kind of like. I mean, I don't even understand how that world exists, or is about to.
Let me ask this: does she come from old money?
I don't. I think she comes.
Have you ever heard of an expression called noblesse oblige? It's a French term. Essentially, what it means is the obligation of the nobility, and it's a concept that was actually very prevalent amongst old money families, and that's why a lot of those people that were born into privilege do a lot of activism and stuff like that.
Here's the thing: she thinks she's part of the elite, but what she's part of is this like college elite. You know what I mean? She's not like, I mean, I'm sure she's worth some, she's probably got more money than your average Joe. She's probably worth some good money, but she's one of those, went to college. And I should mention this. I tried to start talking to her about COVID, and then she started on about the, I believe in science. I believe that, we came up with a vaccine that beat polio, and I had to stop her and go, wait. Stop right there. And I looked right at my dad who had polio, and I go, Dad, when you had polio, was there any DDT around? And he goes, oh yeah, there's DDT everywhere. And it was just like, all right, so I guess you haven't heard of the anyway. Anybody wants to dive into that rabbit hole, feel free. But she's in one of those information elite silos that like, that's it, man. You're not gonna. I don't know. She'll never admit that COVID was developed at Chapel Hill and then sent over to the Wuhan, and she'll never admit to that stuff. I even sent her a video of Jeffrey Sachs, who's the most legit guy I could think of that she would possibly listen to, and I don't know if she's going to listen to it or not, but I mean, people like her just. And that's the generation that still watches MSNBC and Fox. And that's why RFK Jr. can never outlaw Big Pharma from advertising, because those networks are done if they do that. Completely done.
If you now, in the year 2025, if you don't actively try to break out of whatever bubble you have kind of in at this time, you really won't see anything other than that. Like when I stayed at your house for 2 days, obviously I was watching YouTube, right. And you're not even logged into YouTube, but that doesn't matter. They still know your ISP and blah, blah, blah.
I can anyway, but
every single thing, everything saying on your whole page that's suggested is nothing but, like they've got you dialed in. They've got you nailed to a T.
Yeah. Well, I go against the algorithm every once in a while and put like some different stuff in there and look at the other side. They freak out.
Right.
They don't know how to algorithm me exactly. All they know is they know to better shadow ban me. That's not the only thing I'm pretty sure that we're consistent.
I tried to watch a movie. I think it was The Devil's Advocate. And it wouldn't let me because I had it wanted me to log in to prove I was 18 or something in it.
Yeah, for some reason on some stupid movies it'll do that. And like I say, I tried to log in, but I don't know. It would just wanted too much info or something. Something I wasn't going to tell it. It was like, fuck you, I ain't telling you. But which is funny too, because I was watching stuff on my dad's computer and he's logged in. I was like, shit, I could leave a comment. Matter of fact, I should have left a comment. I forgot I didn't. Anyway.
Yeah, you could have left a comment on one of ours.
Yeah, I know. I was like, shit, I should have left some silly comment. But anyway, so one of the things I actually was thinking about the other day. All right, so one of the oldest forms of history that we know about is the Bible. The cuneiform tablets, stuff like that. But obviously that's questionable, not entirely reliable. That stuff, has to have a lot of vetting and other, other cross things that prove, all right, the stuff that was said here, pretty good chance it was true. When was the beginning of actual, true, verifiable history?
That depends on how much you count as, I mean, do you require photographic evidence? In which case it would have to be, whatever year photography was first invented.
I mean,
like,
how
what was
would
the
you?
first, we have pictures of the United States Civil War. I'm trying to think when the invention of photography was. Certainly things can be corroborated before that, though, but
So basically,
there's
short
levels and
answer for
levels
you.
of proof.
Yeah, for short answer for you is when we could prove it with a picture.
I mean, that could be a criteria. I'm not saying that's my answer. I'm just saying that
Right.
could be, you could draw the line there, I suppose.
Right.
Other than that, you would just have to go by what was written down. And then, the more accounts of the same thing being written down in the same way would lend something more credibility. But, I mean, what's the phrase? Pics or it didn't happen. So, I mean, you could say that without pictures, you can't prove. And now we're at the point, well, you can't trust a picture anymore. So then really the only verifiable history will be between when pictures were invented and when we became so good at faking them that you couldn't trust them anymore.
I mean, because, even like written accounts of any history, as we all know, history is always written by the victors.
And everything has a spin.
And
everything
any accounts they don't like seem to mysteriously disappear, So, like, we don't really have that much truly verifiable history for us to look back on.
Well, the other verifiable part of history, aside from pictures, would be artifacts. So therefore, things that we can find, pottery, metal, anything that preserved the time, even human remains or animal remains, and then whatever scientific testing can be done on those to determine either age or the coating of what was inside of a jar to determine whether it was used, what it was used to store.
And that only tells you so much.
Shell middens, where we find heaps of shells, which is indicative of humans being there and depositing all the leftover shells.
Findings, though. We're not talking about somebody saying this is your history. I mean, you can go back farther than human history with like, rock samples and ice samples and stuff like that. That's verifiable history, but I'm talking about like the history, like as to this guy did this and this guy went here and these are the political situations. You know what I mean?
Well, yes, but what I'm saying is that those artifacts can be used to verify some of that. If you have historical writings that describe a city in a certain location, but there's nothing there right now, you go there, you dig, you find artifacts that date to the time of when the writings were supposedly written, then you have a pretty strong argument that at least the location in that story was true. So there are some things that can be linked through the use of artifacts and archaeology.
Well, let's talk about that. Like they say they found the city of Troy. How the hell do they know? Was there some kind of writing that says this being the city of Troy? How do they know that they found the city of Troy? All they found was rubble.
Well, again, I've never delved into it deep enough to know, but I would imagine that some of the rubble and some of the things they found did have markings on it that would indicate that it was Troy, as well as just dating it to be from the time when Troy was supposed to have actually been there.
Right. And the dating is still, I don't know, that's pretty solid, but it's still a little questionable.
But, it's not perfect.
But even that, just if they do prove that was the city of Troy, doesn't make the Trojan horse story true, per se.
No, of course not.
And it's certainly not in the way that we think of it. A Trojan horse story could be a metaphor for something completely different that we never even conceived of, as far as we know. Anyway, all right. Well, history is just a.
Was the Odyssey really written back then in ancient Greece? Yeah. Did the things that are in it happen? Probably not.
Probably not a kraken. Probably not.
Probably not a cyclops. Probably not a siren. Guys probably didn't get turned into hogs. That's my guess.
All right. So here's a little guesstimation of history. If we didn't have term limits, do you think Ronald Reagan would have won a third term?
Yes.
Now, how would that been different? That would have changed the outcome of our history for sure. without Clinton to let the Wall Street guys loose. But then again, Reagan probably would have let them loose too. Although he was,
Yeah, and even if he didn't, the very next, I don't think he would have won four. He would have had to die eventually.
true.
Somebody would have come along and done, what Clinton did. So,
Well, that's just it, though. Somebody conservative enough would have seen and said, no, you can't do that. You know what Clinton did, right? Do you understand the concept?
no, please explain.
All right, well, he repealed the Glass-Steagall Act. Basically, what that did is, all right, so you give your money to a bank, and they're supposed to invest it for you. And, well, they give you a return on your money, supposedly. They used to. Anyway, they don't much anymore, but they're supposed to give you a return on your money. And they're supposed to do whatever with your bank, but with your money, possibly, invested in, something completely very, very safe and make you money or make them money. Now, they also can do risky stuff, but for the risky stuff, they're only supposed to use their money. Like if they're going to go and say, all right, we want to speculate on this, and we think it's going to go up instead of like a treasury bond or something that's guaranteed or whatever. We're going to go
real
speculate.
Quickly, did it also change the amount of reserve they were required to hold?
I don't know. That I don't know.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
But anyway. The point being that they're not supposed to use your money to go, all right, we're gonna start investing in these risky what are they called, mortgage conglomerations where they dump all these crappy mortgages together. They weren't supposed to use our money for that until they got rid of that Glass-Steagall Act. Then they could, and they did. And when all of a sudden all that debt went completely to shit and wasn't worth nothing, that was our money. So the bank basically, if you'd have gone to the bank and said, hey, I want my $100, they go, sorry, we lost it. Except that the federal government had to come in and say, okay, here's all the money. Because that's what, first of all, the FDIC is, first of all, guarantees everybody up to 250 grand that if you got 250 in the grand, well, as long as your bank is FDIC insured, if you got 250 in the bank and your bank goes under, the government's going to give you the money no matter what. They'll print it right there, right in front of you if you want, whatever you got to do. Here's your money. But beyond that, if you got more than that and the bank loses a bunch of money, you're out. Sorry. It's gone, And then the banks did that, and a lot of them were going to go under. Some of these big, giant banks were like, shit, we don't have any of the money that we owe everybody. The government had to go, okay, how much do we have to lend you to make sure that you can pay everybody that you need to pay or give you or whatever the hell they did. Gave them. Let's call it what it is. And that's where Jeffrey Epstein comes in, He's the one that goes, all right, well, yeah, the government lent you this money. What you're going to do, though, is you're going to, claim a loss on your taxes and then write this off, and then this congressman's going to maybe pull a few strings, and your loan is just going to get lost in the shuffle paper, and it'll just kind of disappear. And that's, there's so much. Who's going to oversee it? Nobody. The system's so huge, and nobody can go around and go, hey, what happened to that couple of million that so-and-so was at South Coast local bank? What happened to that money? Oh, well, yeah, don't worry about it. It's a rounding error. It's just the whole thing is just insane. And it's just so incestuously, and that's the amazing part of how they got away with it back in the old days of like the 29 crash, when basically they had paper, pencil, and a wire machine to do it all with. And it was like, how did they... That must have been insane. Just the whole mechanism of just making what they were doing work back in those days without the use of technology that we have today. I mean, guys sit there like our boys, sit there, day traders, sit there and like...
Even going just back to the 1980s. I mean, just go watch Trading Places.
Yeah, that's
They're
true.
standing there screaming in the pit, holding handfuls of receipts.
Yeah.
looking
True.
at it, looking up at a little red number ticking on a screen, and then the whistle goes off, and that's it.
And that's about the
And,
end of
and
it,
we've
right?
gone from that to now it's all done by computers, and
Yeah.
they're literally vying for real estate to get as close to the exchange as possible, because if the connection, if they can get
Oh, it's a
a
little
couple of
microsecond.
milliseconds
Yes.
faster,
Yes.
they
Yeah,
can
you're
trade
right.
faster than the other guys.
You are correct, sir. Yeah, that's just crazy. Oh, it's just crazy. Oh, all right. So one of the things, I was just talking to my buddy Steve Quinto, and he's having some back problems, and I said, dude, you got to go to a chiropractor. Joe Rogan was just on his show trying to, well, he kind of backtracked a little bit, but he was trying to say that chiropractors are quacks. Well, I'm here to say they're not. They might not work for everybody, but they're certainly not quacks, and I have several stories to prove it. First of all, I should mention that my chiropractor saved my life by finding the lump on my thyroid. I went in for a neck adjustment, and she turned my neck a certain way. A little bump popped out of my neck. She goes, hey, you got to get that looked at. I'm like, yeah, what looked at? And she goes, this thing, right? And she showed me a little bump, and I was like, oh, no shit, what the hell's that? And she caught my cancer early, no big deal. Yank it out, done. No fuss, no muss, done. All right, so there's that. But this other time,
that's not really an advocate or an anecdote about chiropractic, but it is an anecdote that she is a trained and conscious and observant doctor, which is nice.
Absolutely. Well, stay tuned. Here's the next story. Is back in my days of playing volleyball, we used to play on out on the beach in the sun, and somebody would always put up this little waist high or chest high tent that we'd put coolers under. You brought a 6-pack, and there's always a cooler to put your beer in. So one day I've been playing a couple of games. I walk over to the tent, I duck under the tent, grab a beer, go to duck back under the tent, and my back just kind of goes. Really didn't bother me. It just kind of clicked. I was like, oh, what the hell was that? That was weird. Didn't hurt. Didn't bother me. I went back, played more volleyball. But about maybe 2 or 3 games later, started to get a little sore. I was like, man, I don't know what I did, but I must have done something to my back, and it wasn't really bothering me too much. Go home, go to bed, wake up the next day, Monday morning. I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't sit up. It took me about 10 minutes to roll out of bed. I couldn't bend forward from the waist more than about 2 inches. I couldn't lift my right leg more than about 2 inches off the ground. I had to call my uncle, who lived a couple blocks away, to come over and help me get dressed. I couldn't get dressed. So I went twice that day to see her. She worked on me twice, did as much as she could do. And the thing with chiropractic is, chiropractic, is that a thing? Is that a word? All right, anyway. It don't work if your muscles have to be loose enough to move the bones around. If your muscles are too tight and you can't get the bones back in line, it's not going to help you whatsoever. As a matter of fact, it's going to suck even worse if you go through all that and don't get them back in line. But anyway, so I went twice, did as much as she could, took a day off, went there on a Wednesday, walked in, she did something to me, my back went click, and I literally cartwheeled out of the office. I felt perfectly fine. Not a damn thing wrong with me. So it does work, but it's just, first of all, you can't just go once and expect it to work. That's not how it works. You got to go a couple of different times. I mean, you might get lucky. You could go once and your muscles actually be relaxed enough, and the guy just goes and straightens you right up, and you walk out going, wow, that's great. But more than likely, if you don't already know about it and you're going there as like a last resort, haven't really, and you're kind of like screwed up and your muscles are all tight, and it's not going to really help you right away. It's going to take some time to, and it may never help you. Some people may, never be able to relax their muscles enough to actually get their joints in line. Some people may be born with the elephant man or some shit, and they do take x-rays before they do anything, before they try to adjust you or anything. But yeah, that's my whole. Have you? Well, obviously you can't do chiropractor, right?
Well, I would not for my neck. No.
Yeah, you could
I
still.
mean, all the other bones in my body, if I had an issue with them, I could, but I don't have back pain or knee pain. You know, my pain is all in my neck and shoulders. And no, I would never let, after the surgery, the vertebrae are not there, or at least the backs of them aren't. So, no. But hey, man, if it works, then, the effects speak for themselves.
Oh.
Another reason why I would never be a candidate for it is because I could never relax enough to let them do that. I would tense up.
Well, with your neck, yeah, I would see that. Yeah. I don't see you ever. Nah, it's a leap of faith with me when they do it. I have to okay, I gotta relax. Gotta oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, I can never see you relaxing enough to ever have that happen. No.
And I know they lie too. So when they're like, "We're going to do it on 3," and I know they're not going to do it on 3, so it's not going to work.
Oh yeah, my chiro did literally there could be as many as 8 literal head fakes, where it's they're like, not that time, no.
Yeah.
You never know where they're going to fucking go.
Basically, I don't want a doctor's office appointment to be a game of duck, duck, goose. I can't do it.
All right. Well, on a similar subject, are you still getting your disability now the government shut down?
Fingers crossed. Yeah, I got the last one.
Okay. Well, I guess the Social Security office is still working because I was day before yesterday. Government shut down, but I've still got an appointment to go get Social Security. So I assume.
Yeah, I even saw an article that the military were all getting their paychecks.
Yeah. So hey, I don't know about you.
I don't. So what portion is still not? Exactly. If all that's working just fine.
I don't know. But so far,
try going to the post office. Just to make sure.
Know. So far, it's been pretty good. I don't know. Everybody's like, and the thing is, they keep the confusion.
I mean, it's just Congress not meeting. That's fine.
Yeah, right. Who gives a shit? Well, here's the thing too, and having lived up, with my dad for 4 or 5 days, having been subjected to cable TV, watching them talk about this shutdown being about health care. No, it has absolutely nothing to do with health care. It has to do with the Affordable Care Act and insurance companies, which is not health care. God damn it. Stop complaining the two. That is the major issue. It's not the same thing.
The insurance industry is literally anti-health care.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, it's like, all right. So anyway, that being said on that, the whole thing is just so stupid. So stupid. Anyway, do you got anything else to add on that subject?
No, not really. Other than, the whole thing is disastrous.
All right. So I was watching Rogan the other day, and I forget who he was talking to, but he was talking about the really rich people. Like, he's not rich enough. Like, there's this class above him that's which there is. I mean, he's got a couple
billionaires.
Yeah, he's only got a couple of $100 million. He's not that rich. You look at
you have, first of all, you have to be in the billions.
Yeah.
And then you have to be in the multi-billions, like over 10.
Right.
And that is a separate group of people.
So which is funny because they talk about a phrase called "fuck you, rich," where you're rich enough to, like, anybody, you could just tell anybody you want, "Fuck you, I ain't doing it," or whatever, "I'm leaving," whatever it is. Yeah.
But you don't need to be a billionaire to be "fuck you, rich."
Correct. Which is where I'm saying is, like, on the scale. All right, you got really rich elite people. You got your Joe Rogan level, who's still fuck you rich. Then you got me. See, like, I'm not that rich, but to a lot of people, I'm pretty damn rich, right? But to a lot of those,
relative, but yeah,
exactly. But, like, to, like, people that, like, my dad and his chick hang out with in Boston, I'm not that rich. I'm all right. I'm doing okay, but I'm not that rich. To Opie, I'm not that rich. I'm doing okay.
Right.
But here's the thing. I've came up with I'm not fuck you rich. I'm fuck it rich. I ain't saying fuck you, but I'm just saying fuck it. I ain't doing it. I'm rich enough where I don't have
You're
to
on
do.
the cusp. You're on the cusp of fuck you.
I'm rich enough where I don't have to do anything I don't want to. You know what I mean? It's just enough where it's like, nah, I ain't doing that. No, not doing it.
Well, I do. There's plenty of guys that are homeless that are fuck you homeless, Rich.
That's
like
true. That's true.
They're just not going to do
That's
it.
true. And then truthfully, there's just really the only difference between me and them is the level of comfort. And
yeah. It all depends at what point you're willing to say, I need nothing more than this. Fuck you. I'm not doing it.
Absolutely right. You're right. Absolutely right. Got that one right on the head. All right. So I think I was going to wrap this up. You've never gotten a DUI, have you?
I have not. I've never been in handcuffs. Wait. I was in handcuffs once, but then let go. Remember? All right. This is a pretty good story.
Okay.
I was with Joe Pasco.
Right.
Right. Mike's little brother.
Of course.
And it was a sleepover. We were both teenagers. We snuck out of the house, out of my mom's house, out of the apartment, left the window up the second floor open so we could get back in. We came back and went over to this girl's house because we thought we were going to get some or whatever. And the whole thing was a disaster. We rode bikes over there. On the way back, we were trying to break back into my house to get back into the house. My mom heard us and called the police because she thought the house was getting broken into. And the cops showed up and caught me and Joe trying to get back into the house. Well, because we lived there, and my mom wasn't going to press charges against us. So for a few seconds, I was detained. But that's it. That's the most. No DUIs, never been arrested, nothing like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Why did that come up when we were on the phone earlier? Anyway, so I've never been convicted of DUI, but I've been definitely, like I told you earlier, I spent one night in jail, basically because, do you remember Ron, the cook from The Gathering, big guy, red hair?
Yeah.
He ran me off the road with his van in my truck because I had that girl Debbie, the bartender, in my truck, and we were going to go, do our thing. And he was just crazy jealous. So he ran me off the road with his van. And we were literally standing outside of our respective vehicles, me going, you're going to pay for that, right? When the cops showed up. And, of course, we were all drunken shit, all of us. So, the cops are like, well, none of you guys are driving anywhere, getting, back in the. So that was I think one of the first nights I've ever spent the night in jail, and then they're just letting you out in the morning, like, all right, get out of here. All right, but then another time. What was the other time I spent the night? There was 3 times that I've spent the night in jail. Oh, the other times when I got busted for weed in that house. All right, so that was another night, one night in jail. All right, but then the time before that, after the first time yet, but before the other one, and this is back in Gathering days, I was up in Singer Island with Jimmer. We were up at a place called Fathoms, which isn't there anymore, and I think everybody was up there. Yeah, right. I think everybody was up there, Flores and Opie and Jim B and everybody. I think we're all up there partying. I think Troy Kent worked up there with his Brent and the other guy, Bruce or whatever his name was.
I remember Troy. I don't remember Bruce.
Brent. Well, Brent was his roommate, and then there's another guy. I'm not sure if Bruce was. Anyway, the point being that we were up there, and we'd get a beer, and of course for every beer, since the bartenders and the owners were all our friends, every beer would come with a shot of Cuervo. So Jimmer and I, and this is when we still lived together, so we were basically just driving home from that event. We probably both had at least a 6-pack of beer and at least that many shots of Cuervo in us as well. And I don't remember, did you know me when I had that? It was a big giant, like a 74 Ford Mercury Brougham. Giant car, man. 4-door, 427. That might have been before your time. But that's what I was driving. And I'm driving Jimmer home. Nobody's wearing any seatbelts. Nobody gives a damn about seatbelts. Driving home on 95. Right as we have to get off at Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard. So I'm in the middle lane, and there's some slow traffic, and I'm kind of speed up, dodge, just do exactly almost what I described earlier in the show, to tell you the truth, but on purpose, not on my phone, but I've sped up, swerved in front of these people, jumped on the off-ramp, and as I'm going down the off-ramp, all of a sudden, there's a pickup truck, like, literally stopped in front of me. Like, holy shit, like, even Jimmer's like, whoa, watch out, and I slam on the brakes, and there's no stopping this. This car had to weigh 5,000 pounds if it weighed, it was huge. It was the biggest car I'd ever owned. So we slam on the brakes, and I slide into the back of this pickup truck, who had stopped because two cars in front of it were side by side, just chatting in the exit ramp, just having a little chat, middle of the night. Anyway, so I hit him, he hit them. Cops are called. Oh, and there was a guy that got injured because there was a guy in the back of the pickup truck. Now, I don't know if he got injured when I hit the pickup truck, or if when the pickup truck hit the other cars, or when, but apparently he got thrown out of the back of the pickup truck and got slightly injured. Young guy.
Were you charged with everything, or were the two people that are just stopped there, did they receive any kind of...
No. I don't know what happened to the two people stopped. I assume they were charged as well. The guy in front of me in the pickup truck was drunker than I was. Way drunker than I was. I saw him in the next cell in jail. But anyway, so the cops come. I don't remember seeming very drunk and almost thinking that I might be pulling this off, like going away without even, walking away from the crash without even getting charged. I pretty distinctly remember reciting the alphabet backwards. Now that may be what got me arrested. Because I think if you actually do it, they think, oh, this guy's fucking crazy. Anybody who's not drunk says, fuck you, I'm not doing that. But I actually did it. I was like, okay, Z, Y, X, U, T, V, T. And I actually sat there and just figured it out and recited it backwards. It took me a little while. And they were like, okay, turn around, put your hands behind your back. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going, whatever. So they throw me in the back of the car. And they took me back. And apparently, I think they were doing they might have had a roadblock somewhere, too, because they took me around the back of this shopping complex where they had the Batmobile all set up. You remember the Batmobile, the big RV that they used to drive around to convict them? But anyway, so they take me to that thing, and they put you in a door frame so that they can see if you're swaying back and forth, which I wasn't swaying. And they make you do a bunch of tests, which I did and looked pretty good. And then they give you a thing to read, and that says, basically when you read it, it says you're going to lose your license unless you take a breathalyzer. And I read it, and I said, nah, I'm not taking the breathalyzer. And then when I went to court, that's the only evidence they had was the video. And the judge looked at that and said, nah, I think you're good. No, not guilty. But I lost my license for a year. Had to jump through all the hoops and claim I'm an alcoholic to get it back and all that kind of thing. But anyway, I just speed up. We got to get out of here. We're over time, so we'll definitely get together on Monday. We got a great guest lined up. Mike Hill, returned guest for a debate on governmental stuff, so we'll do that. And otherwise, like, comment, subscribe, give them the number.
And the number is, call the docs, 904-549-9024.
All righty, let's get out of here.
You want to call us and tell us off.
Yeah. Tell us what you think. Talk to you later.